Hello, fellow shrewd investors. Part 2 of how to diversify your investment these days: gold, crypto, and the stock market during a financial crisis. Inflation is soaring across the world, and fears of stagflation and global recession is looming. This article was published just a couple of days ago. General headlines are not better. These are the first hits of a random search on inflation. German inflation hit another all-time high in May. Inflation more than doubled between March 2021 and March 2022. Inflation at 8.3%, remaining near 40-year highs. In the last video, I talked about property and gold as investment options in the big picture of investment diversification, and in this video, I will elaborate on cryptocurrencies and stock market investments during the times of crisis. If you haven't subscribed, push the subscribe button and like this video to support the channel, and turn on notifications button if you want to be notified when the subsequent videos are uploaded. Obviously, these two videos provide the basic ground in the overall diversification strategy, and in the additional videos, I have to go into further details of each type of investment. Let me know in the comment section if you have any question or topic you want that I cover. The crypto market has suffered drastically during the last couple of months, and more might come. That said, I wouldn't change substantially the basic principles I am going to talk in this video if we were in a completely opposite crypto market mood. First, a little bit of history. This image shows the cover of The Economist in January 1988, predicting in 30 years' time, that is 2018, there would be a digital currency rising from the ashes of a burning dollar. Sounds a familiar story right now. Look at the similarity of the design to Bitcoin. The phoenix is the symbol of new order and new rules. But with this short history, here I wanted to say that if you think that we will have a decentralized money out of the control of governments, forget that thinking. If the elite can design the future currency so long before, they can also devise ways to exert their control. While this channel focuses on investment primarily, if you are interested in the history and origins of cryptocurrencies, meaning of related symbols, money flow control in crypto world, and Mr. Satoshi, the so-called inventor of Bitcoin, let me know in the comments section and I will do a video only on these topics. This is year-to-date chart of Bitcoin for 2022, and this chart shows hourly candles of the last 2 months. The first thing that strikes the eyes is that it is a volatile like a hell. Then the question is, how can one invest in such a market and stay calm? To have a general picture, we need to understand some basic facts. The cryptocurrency market has risen and grown remarkably during a decade and a half, but it is undeniable that it has grown into a quite messy market, generally speaking. Thousands of cryptos have been born, and there are almost daily new crypto offerings. Some creative traders categorize these half-serious coins as altcoins and non-serious coins as shitcoins. Regulatory pressure is mounting, and even the talk of need for regulations in the Congress or by the SEC aggravates the pressure and volatility. Related to that, governments won't simply give up their control over money. This is also amplified by fear of populations and companies, as the adoption of the crypto payment has been extremely slow. The governments will keep their control over the money, whether it is by centralizing a major crypto or issuing their own crypto or even stable coins. To optimize your investment during financial crisis times, do not allocate more than 1 to 5% of your capital to crypto investment unless you want to do a big gamble or you have a very strong conviction that crypto's potential growth outweighs other types of investment. Second point is to buy in trusted brokers and know how to protect your physically non-existent money. It is kind of obvious, but many people lose money either because of fraudulent brokers or by losing their keys, etc. While I generally favor investment over trading, given the volatility in crypto market, consider shorter-term swing trading or even day trading. And finally, to protect yourself against volatility, use stop losses actively. However, I agree that there are much longer shades in crypto candles, making the use of stop losses very difficult. Here are some of my predictions for the crypto market for coming months and years. There are two types. First, very general aspects and their implications, and second, market direction. Over the long run, many of the cryptos will disappear or lose most of their value. It is simply unsustainable to keep such a disorganized market. Contrary to what many people dream of decentralized and government-independent monetary system, the digital currencies will give ultimate control to the powerful to simply switch on and off your account, audit and vet your account, and allow certain expenditures and disallow other expenditures. In terms of market direction, probably volatility will peak even higher for all the reasons we discussed, and one or two major cryptos will emerge as the final winners. Bitcoin and Ethereum are currently the most likely survivors. In the midterm, it is almost given that Bitcoin will sink to 20,000 plus minus 3,000 range. It might touch even 11,000 USD range. It might bounce back to 37,000 range from its current price before further declining to 20,000 or 11,000 in price range. People's trust in the stock market has diminished substantially. Most people have not enough money to buy properties. Therefore, gold and crypto are only remaining ways. What do you think? That is why Bitcoin will skyrocket, but for a short time, sometime during this year, maybe in summer. Then there will be a crash later due to issuance of governmental digital currencies. Of course, these are my opinions, and do not go heavy in cryptos because of these opinions. I will not go heavy in cryptos myself. And finally, stock market. Everyone can agree that the trust in the stock market is very low. The seeds of the current crisis were planted since few years ago when trillions of dollars were printed without any real material support. Last time I showed this Nasdaq year-to-date chart and suggested that these three simple arrows summarize the stock market performance in 2022. Look at it. It really does a good job of summarizing. Of course, I don't mean to ignore the delicacies of the chart, but just want to emphasize the big picture. Now, what do you do in this market? The first tip would be to refrain from timing the market and assuming market bottom. This is true for the overall market as well as for the individual stocks. Sometimes we look at the recent history, and given the magnitude of the decrease from the recent highs, we assume that it is very unlikely that it goes further down. And to our surprise, we see that the stocks can go down much more than what we can imagine. If you are here and you think that this is the bottom because of these subsequent rising green candles, soon you might find a bigger decline in the market. Of course, I'm not talking about the short-term swing trading in this period. The second tip is to have restraint and have control over your impulse. The stock market is not gambling. It needs logic and composure. Perhaps a statement from Warren Buffett would be more persuasive. You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. True power is sitting back and observing things with logic. True power is restraint. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. That said, in my opinion, throw away the recommendations that you should not be emotional to be successful without giving context. We have to accept that we are emotional. Some of us are more emotional than others, but we are not robots and we have more or less emotions. The stock market is also heavily charged with emotions by nature. We cannot simply remove it. What we can do is to have principles in order not to be damaged by our own impulsivity. For instance, we can imagine certain scenarios that can happen for a given stock, and we can decide logically in advance what course of action we will take. If you are interested, let me know and I will talk a whole video about impulsive behavior and emotions in our brain in the context of the stock market. The next tip is to control your greed. Some of us are great buyers, buying at very good prices, but due to greed to get even more profit, we fail to sell on time. I have myself been damaged by this in the past. Not all the profits of a stock is for us. See it this way. Those who buy from us also want to make profit. When you have a decent profit, be grateful and sell. Of course, I'm not talking about the stocks that you intend for a very long time from the beginning. Before getting too long in this general picture video, I'll fast give few other tips. I will come back to each of these topics in the next videos for more in-depth analysis. There are always runners in the market. Here we should pay close attention to cyclicals and macro trends in the economy. For example, most of infrastructure and oil stocks have grown during this market. Another tip is again the active use of stop losses. They are very important in stocks, especially during a bear market. The next tip is to look into balance sheets and fundamentals more than technical analysis during a bear market. And finally, invest only in companies with revenues. Those companies that might revolutionize certain industries, their technology is good for us, but I don't trust them in the current market mood for my investment. Note that in a different market condition, they might make excellent investment options. Of course, if you have 10 to 20 years patience and you have a strong conviction about such a stock and you want to buy once and forget about it for many years to come, then they are good choices for these particular circumstances and goals. In these two videos, I talked about property, gold, cryptos, and stock market as investment options during the times of a financial crisis. In additional videos, I will go into further details of each type of investment. Let me know in the comment section if you have any question or topic you want that I cover. Among all four options, gold is my gold standard investment option for duration of financial crisis. Why? I will talk in next videos. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like. Stay happy and wealthy until next time.